Hail and well met. Welcome to the second episode of the Greymantle game here on the Dungeon Scrawlers stream. I am Eric Scott to be frequently, but not always, the DM of games on the Dungeon Scrawlers stream. We are still in between books of our main game, which is the Westgate Irregulars. Book 4 will be coming at you sometime soon. But in the meantime, we're doing cool little one-shots and short games, and Greymantle is a thing that it's the brainchild of the wonderful Allie Pitchford, who is with me tonight. And we are running through this game and kind of designing it at the table, which is real neat. And I'm going to kick it over to her. But before I do, I just want to give a brief shout out to our sponsors, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a real-time strategy role-playing game that combines characters from multiple books, movies, and all kinds of stories from all over the realms. Aaron's characters like Farida Havilar and Mehen are there. Bob's characters like Drizzt and Brunor and Wolfgar and Caddy Bree and probably Regis at this point are all there. There are characters that you see on live plays. It's awesome. You can get yourself a giveaway box down with the doobly-doo down below. That's We Love Codename, should give you the code for tonight's game. If you get something cool, let us know in the chat. We'd love to see it. We also are proud to be sponsored by two very cool dice companies, Phoenix Dice, which specializes in creating dice from reclaimed recycled materials. So it's like dice are risen from the ashes to be rolled once again. And Norse Foundry, which specializes in these very cool, very strong, very awesome, very sharp, don't step on these, metal dice, which I have right here in my hand. I did at one time drop a D4 and I did find it again, although not with my hand. So just be very careful with these dice. Highly recommended, but only roll in areas of light. That's what I'm saying. And on that note, take it away, Allie.
Hello, everybody. I am Alexandra Pitchford. Normally you see me modding and whatnot, but I am a author, game designer, and today I will be playing Sparrow as I have the last time. And I do want to highlight that we are still taking, encouraging donations to the Trevor Project, which is the world's largest suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning young people. It is a very worthwhile charity, and I definitely, if you can spare a moment and spare anything really to donate to this and help out, they do a lot of good work. And segueing horribly to a far more selfish one, we're also these dungeon scrawlers are still looking to have some lovely art done to commemorate the end of book 3 and the beginning of the book 4, the final book of the Westgate Irregulars story. Yeah, so there's links to the coffee down below. So if you would also like to donate to that is more than welcome. They certainly, I think, would appreciate it, and
very much so.
That tasty art at the end would be very, very nice. Yeah, that's
excellent. On that note, we are going to play the second game of our Greymantle game, and it is a duet game in this case between Allie and myself, and we are going to learn a great deal more about the Silver Sparrow, assuming that she escapes from her current predicament. But before, I have another little prologue thing to read, and I will do that now. Assuming I can find my notes. Here we go. Reality is fracture. Traces of the fissure reveal themselves more often than intelligent and reasonable folk would prefer. This world is a chimera, a fusion of powers incomprehensible to the mortal mind, but sensate to those mightier beings our ancestors once worshipped but have since forgotten but not escaped. These unfathomable entities lurk beyond, waiting to crawl back into the light from whence they sleep, banished but not defeated, never defeated. We exist for their whim and but for their indifference. The directors of our fate conceal themselves above us, beneath us, among us, and between, where they remain hidden until we at last muster up the courage to meet their malevolent gaze. It's from The Apocalypse of the Green Flame, as chronicled by Lord Robillaird, Hierophant of Cholcha, the Green Flame of Ineffable Revelation. And that is the old man who is staring the Silver Sparrow right in the eyes, their gazes locked and filled, and you can sense the madness within this man, the deep, powerful darkness and sense of cosmic doom barreling toward you. And it is at that moment that you hear shouts, cries, and blasts of flame and chaos erupting all around you. So, what I'm going to want you to do now is I'm going to want you to roll initiative. I will add that into the initiative tracker.
Fun.
I got to clear all the turns, because I still had some turns from last time. There we go. There's Silver Sparrow.
Nice.
And we are going to give this good gentleman, Lord Robillaird, a turn as well. Ooh, all right. So what's going to happen is he is going to go first. So you are held in his gaze, and he's looking at you, and his face seems to elongate and warp as you're staring at him, and reality is like spiraling around you. And you hear these whispers, discordant voices spreading all around you, through your ears, through your other orifices, speaking to you in ways that you shouldn't be able to perceive. Make me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Great.
Oh yeah.
That's a 5.
Okay, so wisdom is not necessarily the Silver Sparrow's strong suit.
Not now. No, it's not.
Okay, you take 6 psychic damage. It's not too bad. Could have been much worse.
So.
And then he approaches you slowly, drawing forth a jagged, wavy dagger. And he says, "This blasphemy cannot be tolerated." And he is going to attack you with this dagger, trying to spill your blood into the vessel where you found nothing except for that little lockpick, because someone has beaten you to the punch and left you holding the bag. 17 AC. Does that hit you?
Unfortunately, it does.
Okay. So he jabs this dagger into you. It does 7 points of piercing damage.
Yeah, she'll cry out. That hurts.
Okay. And then it is your turn.
All right, this is not going well. Because she's seeing and hearing things. This is, you know what? I have to make a call here. She is going to try to let's see, how big across is this room? If that can she even perceive that, for one?
The dimensions of this room remember that this room is like a green dripping cave.
Yeah.
With stalactites hanging down and stalagmites rising up from the floor. And it seems to spiral out in all directions, like a substantial distance.
Well,
you want to try and beat a hasty retreat? Is that what's going on?
Yes, and she's going to do that if she can by essentially dropping into the nearest shadow and trying to get the F out of there.
Okay. Well, the nearest shadow would be either the shadow cast by the pillar with the multi-sided box that opened, or his shadow. His shadow seems to be roiling as though it is a mass of tentacles.
Okay, not that one. Yeah, she'll step back and just fall. She'll fall back into that into the shadow cast by the pillar.
Okay. Yep. You fall back into the shadow, and his dagger sweeps across where you just were, without actually hitting you.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, you are briefly in a world of shadow. Why don't you tell us what this feels like, dancing among the shadows?
Never a pleasant experience. Dancing through the shadows feels like, to some extent, dying. It's cold. There's nothing. It's empty. And yet around you is a writhing, roiling, twisting facsimile of the world that you know. It's an echo, a mockery. And the longer you go, the longer you're there, the worse it tends to get.
Right. Where are you going to go in the shadows?
Well, so the class doesn't work. The class itself does not, unfortunately, allow for the kind of retreat she would really want to do, which was to completely get out of there entirely. So, at the very least, she's going to try to get out of the room.
Yeah, the room in the shadow world seems dark and twisted and grotesque, but it has comprehensible dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can see that you are now once again in a 15 by 30 foot room. You do not see your companions. Like, you don't see anybody in the shadowy space. Well, you see, okay, I should be clear. You don't see any people in this shadowy space. You do see a mass of green tentacles in front of you, as though like a vaguely humanoid shape that's entirely shaped out of tentacles. And it's holding a shadowy reflection of a knife, and it seems to be kind of like casting around for you.
Yeah, she's gonna try to get as far away from that as possible.
Okay. So you can get back to the entrance, which is up here, or he came through an opening which is still open in the wall. I will pop that into visibility.
Okay.
It's still mostly open, so you think you could slip through there if you want to, but it's starting to close.
Okay, she's definitely gonna go for the closer one, which is the one that's closing.
Okay.
So yeah, she'll try to slip through that.
Okay. Yeah, you can. How far does your shadow dancing allow you to go?
At the moment, it allows me to go 30 feet.
Okay. Do you want to just go all the way?
Yeah.
That it will allow you to go? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10, 30. Okay. Yeah, you teleport out of there. And you have to end up in a shadow. So
Yeah.
You naturally move to this person's shadow. And when you kind of stagger out of their shadow, fall kind of stumble onto the floor, you see that there is chaos having erupted out in this chamber. There are a number of spellcasters in gray and black and red robes throwing around flame at the soldiers and the poor hapless servants who are just trying not to get killed. And you can recognize them immediately as members of Hellfire. These are warlocks of the Fiend, and they are here for some terrible purpose.
Oh dear.
And the man that you have come out of his shadow is an elderly tiefling. He has long gray hair that kind of scrapes his shoulders as though it were made of blades and not hair. And he looks down at you and he says, shadow touched. And then he reaches down with this gauntleted fist with bladed fingers. So, by my count, you have only done your bonus action on your turn so far. So your turn is still going.
My cunning action, specifically.
Yes.
So she is going to not let that person grab her and try to... I mean, at this point, she's in full panic. She's injured. She's still reeling from whatever the heck running into that guy did to her head. So she is booking it for the nearest door, if she can, at least the nearest door that she remembers leads outside.
Okay, there is a door up here at the northern end of the chamber.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah,
but unfortunately, there is a warlock who's just kicked open the door to the kitchens and is blasting flame in that direction. And even as you watch, the doors open to admit someone who you unfortunately recognize. This, is a relatively short tiefling man with bright red skin and golden horns. They're not naturally golden. You happen to know that he has basically just put little pieces of gold into his horns so that they shine and they catch the light and reflect it. It looks particularly intimidating in firelight, which you know that he is a big fan of fire magic. For this is Belthagast, who is a high up in Hellfire and someone that you have tussled with in the past. He's wearing a helmet at the moment, and it's accommodated for his horns. It is a ridiculous V-shaped helmet with big wings that extend out to the sides, ostentatious in the extreme. And he wears shoulder plates, big shoulder plates, like big golden spiked shoulder plates, and like a mesh shirt under, because who actually needs armor, right? And he does care a great deal about his physique. Think of like a very young Tom Cruise, except maybe more evil, maybe.
Fair enough.
And he says, "Ho, no, that one is mine." And he has this fiery scepter. So
okay.
So there's the doors. You were starting to move toward them, and then you see him appear. So you haven't actually used your move action.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really an action. It's just a thing you do on your turn. It's not important. Go on.
Point being, so she's probably got a hand pressed to whatever wound she got hit, the wound from the knife, and she's like, Belthagast, I have no quarrel with you today. Look, I don't have time. She'll just kind of try to redirect. Is there anything else? Any other opening that she could? I don't see any other doors though, except
there
the
is
ones
a door
on the
over
other side
here.
of the room. Yeah,
which
I
is
see that.
leading to where there are a bunch of guardsmen who are playing at dice. They are now out here engaging in this fight.
Yeah, I think she might go that way anyway, though, because trying to go through Belfagast is probably not the best of ideas right now.
Okay.
So she will try to move in that direction.
Okay, so you're gonna head over to the east.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move your token.
Trying to get to the corner of the wall here with one move.
Okay. This warlock fellow is going to attempt to attack you as you move away from him, though.
Okay.
And he says, "Where do you think you're going?" And he lashes out with this clawed gauntlet. So here we go. Okay, so that's going to be a 13 to hit you, which I think is going to miss.
It's remind me, do ties go to attacker or defender?
Oh, your AC is pretty low, is it?
My AC is low, yes.
So I think in this case he is going to hit you, but it's not going to be a very major hit. He does 2 points of damage to you, and it's mostly heat. Like his claw is still carrying the heat of his last spell that he cast. So he just kind of lashes out and just unarmed strikes you and does 2 points of damage.
Okay. All right. Well,
and then he cackles fiendishly.
Yeah. All right.
You still have the feeling of burning claws on your shoulder.
Yeah. It's not great. Not great at all.
Nope. Nope. All right. When you get closer over to that corner, you can see that, yes, a guardsman, this guy, has run out to fight with this fiend warlock. They are exchanging blows. The fiend warlock, it looks like it would be an uneven fight. That the guard has, a sword and a shield, and strikes at the fiend warlock, drawing blood in a swath of blood. And the warlock goes, and their eyes glow red, and then that blood lights on fire and circles around and strikes the guard, who then starts screaming in pain.
Okay.
So, magic is scary. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you still have an actual action if you want to take an actual action.
Yeah. Well, I do, because cunning actions are separate from bonus actions, correct?
Cunning action is your bonus action.
It is your bonus action. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
So cunning action is an ability which allows you to use your bonus action to do a thing.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna try to skirt around the wall here and reach that door.
So you're dashing.
She is straight up dashing.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. I don't know if the audience can see how many hit points she has, but it's not very many.
It's low. It's very low.
Okay, so there is still a guard in that room who is rising from the table, and he's like, "What?" Looking at you. Okay, so chaos continues to erupt. You didn't attack anybody out here.
No.
So they don't seem to be focused on you as an antagonist. This warlock has killed a laborer right there.
Mm-hmm.
This one is sending out bursts of flame. It's just chaos out here.
For sure. I think as soon as she sees that guard, she's gonna be like, "They're attacking out there! Hurry!"
Okay. Make a persuasion check, I suppose.
17, not too shabby.
17. Okay. Yeah, the guard, here's what you say, looks at you, the smoke coming from your shoulder, the dagger cut in your body, and immediately assumes that you are just fleeing from the battle and that you're not really a threat, and is going to move past you rather than engage you. So let's get the right functionality, Eric. Okay, and then the guard. Don't worry, lass. I'll protect ye. And he runs out. Okay.
Lovely.
All right. Okay, it's your turn. What do you want to do?
I will move into the room. Let's see here. Let's see. There's a couple of doors, it looks like. Are those doors or windows?
Those are doors.
Okay. I think she'll go for the nearest one.
Did I not open the doors for you? No, I didn't. Okay, so you probably didn't see everything that happened right there. Sorry. Yeah, there was a guard there, and then he got out of dodge.
Yeah.
And then you got in there. And now we can all see inside that room because now you're in there.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so yeah, there are a couple doors in here as well. There's a table covered with dice and bills, money.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Allie, you have got inspiration from Cassius.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And discarded cards. Somebody had a really good hand. Too bad that they are probably gonna die. Anyway.
Probably.
All right. And there are braziers burning in each of the corners of this room.
Okay.
Not the one that you're standing in. The far corners.
Yeah. Block the door with a brazier. That's several levels of fire hazard.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah. So she's gonna step inside, kind of around the wall there, and try to get that door open.
The one that's right next to you, or the one that's farther away?
The one that's right next to her.
Okay. All right. So you pull a brazier to block the doors, is what you said. Okay. Yep. That door is not locked or anything. It's pretty easy. You could just open it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see about opening up that door for you. Okay. Yeah, and you can see into a room that looks like a barracks, servants' quarters, something like that. There's a fire on the hearth at the other end. There's nobody currently in the room that you can see.
Okay.
You want to go into the room? You can still move.
You know what? That just from using my spatial awareness, that does seem like the room that Mr. Flamboyant came out of.
Well, he came out of, well, possibly. You're pretty sure he came through doors to the outside, though.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and head in. Oh yeah. No, there aren't doors. Okay.
Okay.
But that also looks like that room is a dead end. Maybe. But I don't know. She'll look in there. I think just seeing the beds and stuff, like just looking through the door, can she see any windows, anything of that sort?
There are windows on the far wall. Yes. They are slightly raised and barred, but they are there.
Okay. I think at that point she will make for the other door.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. And you want to open that door?
Yeah, and open that door too.
Okay. Just. Okay. Yeah. It looks like a very similar sort of room.
Okay. Not ideal. Still same situation. Raised, barred.
Mm-hmm. You do hear shouts from out behind you, from the room that you left. and you hear Belthagast saying, "I'm coming for you, Shadow Girl. I'm coming." And other such innuendos of that sort.
Okay. Well, let's see here.
That was way more creepy than I intended it. Anyway.
Yeah, it was very creepy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see here. What to do now? So I've used my move. There's not a lot of options here. I could get a little tricky. Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to is there a spot that is like, because I know you've got the braziers in the corners. She's going to head for a spot that's particularly shadowy and hunker down.
Okay. So you're gonna hide in there. Or,
Yep.
Okay, which room are you going to try and hide into? Go ahead and move your token where you want to hide.
Yeah. You know what? She moved that brazier out of the way. I can't put myself quite in the corner. No, there it is. She's gonna run into the corner where that brazier was.
Okay.
Hunker down and try to hide, basically.
Okay. So the doors shudder under a blow.
Mm-hmm.
And you can smell the acrid tang of explosive magic that struck those doors, and they start splintering. You can kind of see a little bit through them. You see fire and smoke and blood, and it seems that the building is starting to catch on fire out there. All right. And then you hear Belthagast outside saying, "Move aside, stand aside, let me handle this." And you can dimly catch a glimpse of him through the door. Make a stealth check.
Only
Okay.
11. That's not great.
Okay.
My better skills too.
All right. Well, he doesn't seem to be immediately aware of you, but he does come up to the door, and he just starts balling up this ball of flame in his hands.
All right.
What would you like to do?
So I can see out there to some extent, yes?
Yeah, you can glimpse him. Yeah, you do have line of sight to out there.
Well, I could always try, if I've got line of sight to, is there like a pool of shadow that I could use?
There's his own shadow, which his flame is casting behind him. You are, of course, in a pool of shadow since you moved the brazier.
Well,
and it's now casting. Well, actually, there isn't necessarily an object that's casting shadow from that particular brazier. That brazier is basically illuminating this whole area. So you're not currently standing in shadow.
Okay, that's not great.
Huge explosion goes off.
Okay. I'm guessing the door not too great now.
Yeah, the door is starting to buckle. You saw it like push inward.
Look, Belfagast, I'm sure we can talk about this. She calls to the door.
And there's this massive and the door blows open. So, well, one half of the door blows off its hinges.
Okay.
So you can now see out through the door, and he's standing right there. As the door, the splinters of the door are flying between you and the brazier. It casts shadow onto you, and you feel that reassuring embrace of shadow on you once again. There's definitely shadow behind Belfagast. So you think that in this particular moment, you could shadow dance into that shadow and then out behind him, if you want to.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take that opportunity.
Okay.
The moment it's given, I'm taking it.
Great. Yep, that's exactly what you do. And now make a stealth check, because you have, basically moved to a new area.
It's a 12.
You do have that inspiration if you want to spend it.
I do. I will use that inspiration. 18.
Okay. I was gonna say roll 20 has decided that you are gonna die. All right, no. Okay, you just shift through the shadows just right behind him, and he does not notice you. You see that the guardsman who was right there is lying a smoldering mess on the floor. The one who was fighting the warlock before, over just to the left of where your token is also dead. And the warlocks appear to have engaged a certain master warlock who has emerged from that secret door.
Okay, good. They can have him.
As you watch, they start, shouting and casting magic, and he looks at them like he's never seen anything quite like that before. Like a person before. And he says, "Light of Tolja, consume you." And this green globe of light and power appears. And as you watch, they just, like, the warlock's caught in it. It clings to them, and little green flames light on their clothes, and they start melting. Or more accurately, it seems as though their faces and skin become haggard and old and ancient, as though you were seeing the horrible, ugly truths behind their visages. It is quite unsettling. I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh my god. All right. Okay.
Hey,
17.
it's not my fault you didn't invest in wisdom.
Talked about
it is. Okay. You managed to keep hold of your senses.
Okay.
As you see these two warlocks start crying out in terror, and Belfagast, "Ha, come here, little girl," and he just heads into that room. Would you like to do anything while he's heading into that room? He has the rod, which is fiery at the end, but he has at his belt, he has a dagger, and he has a pouch, which probably has coin or jewels in it.
I think at this point, while Sparrow is certainly motivated by certain factors, such as Agreed. Self-preservation is the much larger factor for her. And I think at this point she's not okay enough to risk that kind of thing. So I think she is going to let him march into that room, and she's going to bolt, ideally the way that he came in.
Okay. All right. So he gets through, and you do not attempt to pickpocket. Understood.
No, I do not. No, I do not.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So you go ahead and move your token, your speed. Yeah. So you're running past the warlocks who are dying a terrible, painful, magical death.
Yeah. No, I'm not. They can have it. I have no interest in interfering with any of that.
Okay. This warlock, the one who initially greeted you when you appeared, hurls a flaming bolt at the chief warlock. It strikes his shoulder, or maybe it doesn't, and it just kind of like zooms around his shoulder and then starts floating around him.
Okay.
And that warlock looks very upset, very unnerved by that.
Yeah,
like that was one of his scorching rays he was pretty happy about.
That's concerning.
And he looks around, but his passive perception is not enough to see you.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to, take that move again.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to, because that my movement should bring me right up to the door.
Yep. He left the doors open, in fact.
Okay.
So you can just head right out if you want to.
Yeah. She'll head out. She's out.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. You get outside. There are a couple of dead guards out here. I'll just put a token up here. That the Hellfire seems to have fought their way through, and you hear panic shouting and whinnying of a big chunky horse over to the side.
Okay.
The horse that you brought with you. I have them down in my notes, actually, what we named this horse. Hold on. According to my notes, Big Brad, the chonky horse. Okay.
Big Brad.
Big Brad.
Right.
Yeah, the horse is just kind of sitting there waiting. There's a cart, and it is only when you're out and free of the madness going on inside the house that you remember your companions. You did not see them once you jumped into the shadows, and now you're not sure what happened to them. But you see that the house is engulfed in flame and smoke and screams of pain and horrible magical death. So, the shadows are flickering around you. The light is flickering in your eyes. You're bleeding from numerous wounds.
And they're okay. They're fine. And she'll stagger off toward Big Brad, honestly.
Okay. Big Brad at least seems pleased to see you.
And let's get out of here, shall we?
Okay.
Her voice kind of trembling a little bit as she very painfully hoists herself up onto Big Brad, undoing whatever, hitches and stuff. She's not taking the cart. She doesn't care about the cart.
Okay, clearly got to put Big Brad on here again. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's that chunky boy.
He's a chunky boy.
Okay. So yeah, you get on Big Brad. Oh no. I didn't mean for that to happen. I didn't mean for Big Brad to eat you. Okay. and you head out off on your way. Okay. So now then, we are kind of between scenes at this point. So where do you direct Big Brad to take you? Leaving behind the smoke and flames of the building.
Okay. Well, right now I think she is. I mean, she's wounded. She's scattered. She's honestly terrified.
You
So I
realize that you were grasping something very hard in your hand, and you peel your fingers open, and you realize that it's this twisted black lockpick that was all you found in the case where you expected the treasure to be.
All right.
As your only lead.
Well, for the moment, I think she's going to try to head someplace relatively safe, but someplace she knows she can find healing. Because right now, like, she's heavily injured. She has no access to any healing magic of her own, so that's her first priority. Is maybe like an old contact or something that might have access to that sort of thing.
Okay. Why don't you just tell me what this old contact might be like? And where?
Well, I'm kind of imagining someone along the lines of, like, criminal organizations usually have access to things like back alley doctors, and that sort of thing. You see it all the time, and like, a lot of crime-related stuff, but like mafia stuff, cyberpunk even. You've got your back alley docs.
Going to a Ripper doc. Understood.
Right. The
what,
fantasy equivalent.
Maybe in Greymantle it would be a gritter doc, because it's gritty here.
Oh.
That was real bad. I apologize.
That was bad.
All right. Well, you do make your way to a pretty inexpensive street healer, surgeon, chirurgeon, shall we say. And they take you in despite the hour of the night. Tell me about this person.
Well, it's probably it would undoubtedly be someone that Sparrow has used before.
Okay.
We'll call her Maeve.
Maeve. All right.
Kind of I'm imagining very kind of no nonsense older woman, very maybe human, maybe it's questionable, and she has odd techniques, but she gets the job done. She is kind of no nonsense, very kind of like, she'll take care of you, but
she is known for mixing herbs, and her remedies are terrible tasting but effective. And she's also very good at brewing potions that you can drink that will numb the pain when she stitches you back up, which she is doing right now. What did you do to yourself this time, lass? What happened? No, don't tell me. I don't want to get involved. You're making enemies again. You can't be doing that. You cannot be getting yourself more and more enemies now that you're out of the guild.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Through.
It's not like I still have to eat.
You still have to pay for healing services. Ahem.
Yes, and you'll get your money.
That's what
I always
said the
pay.
Last time.
Yes, well, Look, this job would have paid for a lot, all right? It didn't quite go as I'd intended, but it it was solid. It was supposed to be solid. Someone beat us to the punch.
Someone? Do you know who?
It's not like they left a calling card. All I have left is a broken lockpick. Now,
Well, let me see it.
she'll kind of wince as she reaches into a pouch to pull the shard of a lockpick from where she'd put it on her flight out and pass it over. I mean,
Oh, it's a very high quality device.
and you can tell that from just a shard.
Yes, sturdy, despite it being broken, of course. Probably broken when he tried to open the case. You found this in a treasure chest, I assume. Empty treasure chest?
Unfortunately.
Of course. She gives it back to you. And she says, well, you probably, if you're going to hunt down the man who used that lockpick, you'd probably want to find the proper fence who deals in such devices. Now, you're probably going to ask how I know it's a man. Obviously, it is a man's lockpick. I can tell sometimes when I touch things, you know.
Of course. She'll kind of look incredulous at that, but like
Maeve does sometimes have a means of like knowing things about objects, and she's very big on deals. When you make a deal with her, she expects you to keep up your end of the bargain. And you have long suspected that Maeve might have some connection with the Fae here in Greymantle, but you haven't really looked into it a lot because that's real dangerous.
just a bit.
They who thrive here in the shadows are not to be trusted. That includes you. But you think that that might be the source of why Maeve has kind of a soft spot for you. She says, well, I can point you in the direction of the only fence I know.
And how much would that cost?
Well, it depends. How much coin do you have?
Sparrow kind of reaches for her pouch and pulls out kind of a stack of bills, leafs through it, and then just slaps it down like on the table or something.
Maeve looks at it distastefully. She's like, once upon a time, we used to use proper money. All of this paper, it seems so fake by comparison. You know what I mean? Of course you don't know what I mean. You're young. She starts counting it.
I don't disagree with you. Certainly coin has much better tactile sensation, but
I suppose it's less convenient to haul away if you're in the middle of a heist.
True, paper is a lot lighter, though as I understand it, it doesn't spend very well outside of the city.
No, if you ask me, this is all a ploy by the rulers of the city to mass gold and silver for themselves. Gold and silver have power,
It wouldn't surprise me. At the very least, that's all that I have. I can get you more, I need time to solve this.
All right, well, see that you do. No more healing until you have double this for me.
Understood.
It is a pact that we make then.
You know how I feel about that.
She waves her little silver needle, which has some of your blood still on it. Yes or no? Yes or no? Make up your mind.
Fine.
Good. She just kind of like thinks it back into her little bracelet. Are you eating enough, dear? She pats your cheeks. You're looking very thin. I worry, you know.
I know. I'm fine. I've
You
been
need
busy.
someone to worry about you.
That kind of makes her wince slightly as she looks away. Uh, yes, well, everyone does, I suppose. Not everyone has that luxury.
Well, at the corner of Bode Street, you shall find Finch the Fence. He does business out of a small garret. Well, or maybe that's where he lives and he does business near the garret. I'm not sure, but it's right over a butcher shop. Don't try to rob the butcher shop. Barag has a nasty little axe, quite some skill with using it. An iron axe, if you must know. Very painful, very unfortunate. So climb up to the garret. You're in fine shape to do that. I've taken care of that. And find Finch, and I'm sure he can point you in the right direction.
Yes.
Weaselly little man. Don't let him out of your sight.
I so rarely tend to let people like that out of my sight, but I'll keep that in mind.
Well, if that were true, we wouldn't be having this conversation now, would we? Tut tut. Off with you.
All right. Thank you. And
don't thank me. Pay me. She closes the door behind you. Okay. What a good little interaction with Maeve there. So you're standing out in the darkness. It starts to rain.
I think she'll kind of cast her attention in the direction she came, the direction of the estate.
You can still see smoke rising into the air, and you think some of the flames that you can still see are green.
They're all right. They don't need you. And she'll head for the she'll probably, so she can move more stealthily, she'll probably not take the horse this time. She'll find
Brad the chunky boy is what do you do with him? He technically belongs to your companion, as does the cart.
Well, the cart can't be helped now.
If you leave it here on the street, it will inevitably be robbed. Like everyone will take stuff from the cart. There's already stuff missing from the cart. Just the half hour that you were with Maeve. The horse is still here though.
Fine.
The horse looks at you sympathetically.
She'll I guess she could try to drop it back by her companions, by the stables, and go from there.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You can do that. Yeah, you all right, so you make your way with the horse back to Saunders' stables, and you're fully healed. Maeve did fully heal you, by the way.
Okay.
And you got the benefit of a short rest.
Okay.
So you take Brad the chunky horse back to the stables. The cart clacks along the cobblestones. It is late at night. Even in the constantly benighted side of the city that is Nightside, there are times when it becomes darker than dark, and only your superior dark vision is really seeing you through. You constantly see movement and figures flitting through the shadows, and you think that you're being watched constantly as you're going along, but nothing steps forth to challenge you. Not until you get to Saunders' stables. for it is there that you encounter Arthas. Arthas is the he owns the stables where Sounder works. And he looks at you. He says, "That's my cart."
Yes. My companion had to rush off, and I believe this is hers from here.
Arthas is a big, bulky dwarf, very, very big beard that is strung all around his shoulders. He has a bald pate, obviously, but is heavily tattooed. And he says, "You mean Sounder? You must be Sounder's elf friend." Huh.
We are certainly acquaintances. I merely wish to return the horse and cart to where they belong.
Well, that's very responsible of you. Where'd you find these?
Well,
Don't tell me you and Sounder went on some jolly jaunt and took our property with you. She wasn't supposed to do any trades this evening.
Nothing so nefarious, I promise. Certainly, Sounder got called away and had need for quick transportation. Unfortunately, we had no other means available at the time. But this, the matter has unfortunately required her absence, but I promised that I would return the horse and cart to where they came from.
Make a persuasion check. Okay.
25.
All right. He buys it. So that seems reasonable. That's surprisingly responsible of you, but I guess Sounder has good friends.
I have never known Sounder to have anything but the most impeccable of judgment.
Well, I suppose that's true. I'll be taking that cart there. Anything lost will obviously come out of Sounder's wages.
I would expect as such, unfortunately.
But don't worry. She won't get a thrashing or a tongue lashing. I will tell her that her friends speak well of her.
Good. I'm glad. And when she does return, please give her my regards.
Are you all right? You're still smoldering there. He points to your shoulder, where you do see this little lick of smoke rising.
I must have caught an ember from perhaps an open flame through the market.
Yeah. Well, there's a big fire up in the noble ward. I don't suppose. No, but you're not coming from that direction. Anyway, peace. Take care. And he takes the cart back into the stables. Big Brad looks back at you a little bit forlornly.
Be well.
Okay. And then you were on your own again. Your shoulder hurts a little bit.
Maeve said she patched me up. So
you recall what Maeve said, which was that she cauterized some of the wounds, but some of them came pre-cauterized.
Also true.
Yeah, you think that the pain dulling herbs have started to wear off, and that's why you're starting to feel your shoulder again.
Yeah. Nothing to it. I have to keep going. So she'll head off and toward the spot that Maeve told her about, the butcher shop.
Okay, so right. Okay, Bode Street is Bowed, is named that way for a couple of reasons. One, the street itself curves. It did not always curve, but over time, as though the pressure of certain buildings has been building and pushing it outward, it has bowed away from the city center. And the buildings along Bowed Street seem to stoop, and their eaves drag downward, bowing under the weight of some unseen force. Over time, it has become languid and beaten down by the pressures of life on Nightside. You do find Bargis's Butchery, which is fairly easy to find. It has actual glass windows, one of which has a big spiderweb of cracks through it. And inside are haunches of meat hanging from hooks in the ceiling. They're not moving or anything. Everything is still. It's very dark inside, but you can see with your dark vision. And there is indeed a garret up above the butcher shop where you can see a candle burning in a window. How would you like to proceed?
Well, does it look like I could scale up to the garret from the outside?
It does look like you could climb it. It might be a little tricky, but you probably could if you wanted to give that a shot.
Yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Okay. All right. The rain gutter is rickety and the boards are old and rotting. So I'm going to need you to make an acrobatics check to just kind of Assassin's Creed your way up. Oh, unfortunately, that did not happen. In fact, you start climbing and pulling yourself on the rain gutter, and your shoulder just tweaks from the burning, and and you slip off the rain gutter, and then fall down onto the street. You didn't get very far when you fell. However, you did also make a terrible clatter with the rain gutter. Definitely, you popped off one of the attachments holding it to the wall, and it is now leaning precariously over you.
Well, of course. Of bloody course. Everything had to just go badly. She'll start cursing, and just kind of sink back against one of the one of the opposite walls for a second. Head in her hands, just I can't. No, I need this. And she'll kind of shake it off.
Somewhere you hear a bird crowing as if in anticipation of a sun that may not actually rise.
She'll kind of start looking around for an alternative way.
So, you think you can climb it still? It would be more difficult though, because the rain gutter is just, the rain pipe is broken, and if you try to climb it, it will fall off and take you with it. You could just climb the building with the handholds there, or you could try and break into the building like through one of the doors. Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Because you're kind of like scoping out the building, casing the joint, as it were.
Wow, this is not Sparrow's day.
No, Roll20 has decided that Sparrow is going to have a hard time. Okay, so yeah, you don't see any obvious techniques to get up or anything. There's a front door, and then there's a rear door which appears to have a less of a lock. Like, it's a cheaper, easier lock if you wanted to try and pick your way in, or break the lock. You could probably do that too. Or you could break a window and get through. How many crimes does Sparrow want to commit?
I think Sparrow will just try to pick her way in.
Okay.
She's
Front door, back door.
I'll do back door.
Okay.
Less obvious.
All right. I'm going to need you to make a dexterity thieves tools check, which if you're trained in thieves tools would just essentially be any other dexterity skill.
Okay, well, we'll just do sleight of hand.
Yeah, awesome.
Why?
Okay, so you don't break your lockpicks in the lock, but you do like jam the lock and make it harder and can't really get through.
She's gonna have that moment where the moment it jams, she's just going to groan and thump her head against the door.
Hey, you hear a coughing sound from above up in the garret. There's somebody up there who has a very wet, like sort of cough.
Fair enough.
You feel so tired.
Yeah, she's like, look, I know you're up there. I have had a very long day.
You're gonna shout out to the garret?
Yes, I am. At this point, she is fed up. She is having such a horrible time.
Okay. All right. A moment passes, and then these two thin hands emerge from the window and grab the shutters and just there's still the front door.
Yes, I will try the front door.
Okay.
Oh. 18. It's better this time.
Click. Door opens easily.
Thank you. she'll stalk inside. She's just not like.
Okay. So inside this front room of the butcher shop, haunches of meat hang all around you. The room is cold, colder than it was outside, and it was cold outside. This is just an extra level of frigid that's making you kind of shiver a little. You close your cloak tighter around you.
Pull on her coat a little bit.
Yeah, you think it is definitely, it's preserving the meat, right? This extremely cold interior. The meat is only sometimes recognizable. You can tell that a couple of those haunches are most of a pig, or sometimes an entire well, it wouldn't be an entire cow because that would be too big, but like half of a cow is just chopped halfway through, and you could see its legs hanging up. You can hear the faint drip, drip, drip of blood, which you suspect might be coming from the meat hung around you.
Okay.
A couple of the pieces sway slightly in the breeze that you brought in from the door, or maybe just because you changed the pressure of the room and it made them swing, and you can hear the chains faintly tinkling.
Yeah, I will close the door behind me.
Okay.
And I've no interest in at this point she's having a terrible night. She was told not to rob this place, so she's just moving and trying to get up to where she can at least head upstairs and try to get to that garret.
Okay. So let me just check one thing real fast. So yeah, tell us how she's feeling at the moment. She's just having a hard time, but she's had a touch of success.
Slightly. I mean, certainly she's feeling dejected. She is uh left rattled by, what happened back at the estate. And yeah, part of her is concerned about her companions, but at the same time, like, she had to get out of there. Like,
yeah. You have like these conflicted feelings of doubt and uncertainty,
guilt.
guilt, and you're thinking about that when a cleaver comes swinging at your head. And I think that's a good time for us to take our break, actually. Yang Yang, if you would cue us up for 10 minutes, and we will leave it on that cliffhangery note. And don't go away. The Dungeon Scrawlers will be right back with more Greymantle. How will Sparrow get out of this mess? See you soon. And we're back. Welcome to the second part of our second game of Greymantle, starring Silver Sparrow, as played by Alexandra Pitchford. Before we get back into the action, I wanted to remind you all about a couple of things. One, we are still raising money for the Trevor Project, as Ali mentioned earlier. A huge nationwide project for suicide prevention, mental health care, specifically focusing on LGBTQ community and young people. Very worthy cause. Please donate to them. We are also raising money still for the extremely stupid war that's still going on in Asia. Yeah, Putin got involved in a land war in Asia, and it's just dragging on. So still raising funds to help the Ukrainians fight off the invaders who are coming to take their country. Oh, and I guess the Westgate Irregulars are still raising money to get some new art for themselves. So any of those causes, not necessarily in that order. Okay. And on that note, I think we're ready to go. When last we left, Silver Sparrow was breaking into a butcher shop, thinking about the guilt of leaving her friends behind, potentially in danger. One whom she had not seen in some time and was only just reconnecting with, and one who she tries real hard not to disappoint, but it doesn't always work out that way. When somebody came at her with a butcher's knife. In fact, this individual is a large, extremely bulky, extremely big person of orcish blood, who is swinging around this butcher's knife. And that first attack narrowly misses Sparrow and just sinks into one of the hanging carcasses. And then he grunts.
Easy, friend. I have no quarrel with you.
Says the one who broke into my shop. He pulls the blade out, and there's this just gout of blood that comes out of the carcass.
Yes, and I'm not taking anything, I promise. I just need to get upstairs.
Make a persuasion check. Hmm.
15.
Hmm. He looks at you for a second. All right. Honestly, if you came to rob me, you wouldn't have come in through the front door, nor would you have shouted out in the alley.
Yes, that.
What kind of a thief are you exactly?
Apparently a terrible one right now, but regardless, I have zero interest in. I'm not here to steal, I promise.
Well, that's good, because I'd have to chop your hands off and then serve them to my customers. Speaking of which, do you need any meat?
Not at the moment. I'm a little light on paper. I'm a little light on money anyway. But I'm following something up, and unfortunately, that has required me to make my way through here. And I don't have any rapport with you, and I don't.
Not a thief, not a customer, just taking advantage of my cool, huh?
It is very cold. I'm impressed.
You should be. I pay good coin for that. Real coin, mind you. Actual silver and gold. That's what those mages want, you know. Oh, yeah, paper. Good enough for us, lowly born, but the powerful, they want the real stuff. He is not a supporter of paper money.
I couldn't tell.
It's kind of a new innovation here in Greymantle.
Yeah.
Like, it has only been relatively recently introduced, and some people are staunch traditionalists who don't want to go to this paper money. They don't think it's real. Like, they don't trust the value, and they're not wrong, right?
No, they're not wrong.
But, you know, at the same time, it's causing some economic slowdown.
Yeah, just a bit.
Anyway, he says, well, you don't have any coin on you, don't have much paper on you. All right. You're here to see the little guy, huh?
Yes, thank you.
Is he gonna pay you?
Well, it's more to see if we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're not really his type anyway. I mean, you're not sneaky, not stealthy, not gonna take advantage of his equipments, are you?
She'll just kind of give him an odd look, like, are you hearing yourself? Never mind. Never mind.
Look at how big I am. He smacks his stomach. I snuck up on you, didn't I?
Well, I'm.
Would you like some tips for moving silently? You could just move past them. It's fine.
Yeah, she'll walk past. It's like I think I can cope, and she'll start heading upstairs.
Well, you're welcome. If you need some meat, and you close the door behind you to the garret stairs. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So a narrow, thin, winding staircase leads up. The steps are rickety and none too well maintained. And there used to be part of a banister, but it is like broken to just like knobs on the wall, so you mostly just feel your way up with your hand. And you come up to the little garret. There is a door which is closed and bolted. You can see faint candlelight under the door.
All right. Well, if it's a bolt, it can't exactly pick that. Or at least not easily. If it's like a slidey bolt, she can't do much. But
well, there's a locking mechanism that would draw the bolt out of the. So yeah, it's a deadbolt lock essentially.
Okay. So it's not quite the kind of old school slide a big metal bar across the door kind of bolt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sure. She's fed up. She's gonna try. It's only a 13 though.
Okay. You still manage to get the lock open, and the bolt does disengage.
Yeah. All right, and she'll pull the door open and walk in and just be like,
Okay, there is a small, very skinny, probably maybe like 5'4" guy holding a crossbow pointing right at you. And he's like,
she
"Hey,
does not
hey,
care.
I'm warning you, don't come any closer." He's got kind of a rat-like face, like a Weasley nose, kind of lank hair.
Finch, was it?
That's right. That's right. Who sent you? Who are you?
I'm not going to hurt you.
No, you're not. Not as long as I got this pointed at you. It's a well-made crossbow. Like, you think that like that would fetch quite a bit of paper if you were to sell that. A light crossbow.
I neither had the time nor the patience to explain to you why you should put that down and listen to me.
Well,
And I am not here to steal from you. I'm not here to rough you up. I certainly have no intention of either of those things. I just need information.
really? What information do you need? Who are you? Oh, you can show him the thing.
Yeah, she's like, you can call me Sparrow. And she'll pull the shard of lockpick out of her pouch and hold it out. And I need to know who made this.
His eyes widen slightly. He's like, "Where'd you get that?"
Let's just say I found it in place of something that I wanted.
Okay, so he comes a little bit closer to you, like he's just hesitantly stepping closer, and he's just.
She'll hand it over.
Yeah. And he looks at it. And he like props it against the crossbow, and she's still sort of pointing at you. Like his finger is dangerously close to the trigger. And he's just like, Yeah. Well, that was careless.
Indeed.
So you found this.
Yes.
And you want what? You want to return it?
Oh no. I want what's mine.
Oh, so you're
I
a
want what they
rival.
took.
You're a rival. Oh. Oh, well. My business wouldn't last very long if I just give out people's names and locations.
Yes, well, the item that I am seeking to find should sell for quite a bit of coin.
Yes.
If you were to help me, I could see my way into making sure some of that coin found its way into your purse.
I want you to know you're asking me to sell out one of my best patrons. Well, he is a little bit behind on rent. And so he's kind of stiffed me on a few of his gigs recently. Although he was talking about a big score. Is that the same score that you were looking for?
It could be. Perhaps. The question is, do you believe he's going to give it to you?
Well, it's useful to me to know that he has it. That you know, and now I know that he has it. Does he know that you know that I know that he has it? Does he know about you?
I don't think he does.
Well, what are you going to pay me? What's your offer? Make me an offer.
What does he owe you in rent, first off?
Well, Well, he doesn't owe me in rent. He owes the devils. I mean, he doesn't owe me any rent, but he's constantly behind on his own rent. And so, you know, that's what I was saying. Like, he needed to keep more coin from his gigs, and he had less to sell to Old Finch. You know how it is. Times are tough here in Nightside.
What's your typical rate?
He did almost slip up and say something. You did catch it.
I did, yes. And what's your typical rate?
Well, 10% on commissions for good patrons, 15% from him.
I see.
He's a good patron, but not that good a patron. 20% from you. I don't know you.
I suppose I can't fault you for that. How about this, then? When I recover the item, since you are quite, I hear, the masterful fence.
Ha! Flattery. Doesn't work on me, Missy. You're not my type. You are more his type, I suppose.
Be that as it may.
Maybe he'd consider it a favor if I sent you his way. Maybe he'd find it interesting, at least. Anyway, what you were saying about...
Well, it's certainly worth a shot.
About a reward of some kind, yes?
Yes. Should you help me, I will pay your 20%. No questions asked. And she'll pull out her hand crossbow. You seem to have a hard time lifting that old thing of yours.
Hey, I lift. I'll have you know. I work out.
It's not a judgment. I'm merely offering.
I'm just thin-boned, that's all.
Well, then try this. And she'll hold it out, handle first.
Okay, well, he takes it from you. Oh.
Well made, light, easy to load.
He sets down his other crossbow. He still holds your hand crossbow in two hands. And he's like, this is nice. I have small hands, you know. Don't need big hands in my line of work. Long, sensitive fingers. Those are thief fingers. I have smaller fingers.
Yes. And, well, it should...
I'm going to keep this. I will keep this as collateral.
As I expected. And she'll even pull out the little pouch of quarrels and toss them over.
Well, that's right generous of you. I don't think those other quarrels that I had would fit in this little toy, this little murder piece.
Oh, no, it wouldn't. But
okay.
It's a good little piece.
Here's how this will go down. So, I'm supposed to meet with him at dawn. And I can't tell you where he stays. I don't really know where he stays exactly. And I don't necessarily know how to get in there either. But I know where we're supposed to meet. If you so happen to observe our meeting and follow him, well, I couldn't very well do anything about that. You know, I barely leave this chamber.
Of course.
You seem stealthy, good at moving and avoiding notice. Unless you're trying to get noticed. Like when you shouted at me in the alley. I don't know you, lady.
Well, it was worth a shot.
What's
and generally
your name,
speaking,
anyway?
Yes.
You're so distinctive. You'd think I would know.
And I told you, you can call me Sparrow.
All right, fair enough. Fair
If
enough.
you
We're going
need
with the
something
bird
a little-
motif.
Yes, if you need something a little more flowery, the Silver Sparrow will do.
Oh, fancy. Well, we're meeting at the Sorrowful Angel. You know the fountain? Yes, that's where
Yes.
we're meeting. Public, but, you know, safe in that respect. And if we're going there at dawn, there aren't going to be very many people around, so you'll want to avoid notice.
I think I can manage that.
Well then, you can't stay here unless you have some more lovely trinkets to trade. Did you happen to bring paper with you, or coin, perhaps? I do have a small assortment of devices that you might find intriguing. Perhaps some better lockpicks to deal with those pesky back doors.
She just thinks back to the wad of money she gave to Maeve, and just like, at the moment, I am running a bit light.
Pity that. Well, if you have anything to trade, or you're interested in buying or selling something, well, maybe we can do further business.
Of course, I'll keep that in mind for future dealings. I think for now, I thank you for your aid, and well, I would say I'll see you later, but if you see me, things have gone terribly wrong.
You mean like tonight?
Yes. She'll just leave.
Okay, the bolt slides shut behind you.
Like,
all right, you head back down the stairs. Bargat is there, and he's got a plate of sizzling meat, and he's like, "You looked hungry. Are you eating enough?"
Everyone keeps asking me that.
Well, we asked that for a reason. He shoves the plate onto you, and then he heads back to bed.
All right. Thank you. She'll kind of head out, experimentally like sniffing the meat to make sure it's okay.
Well, you're not entirely sure what kind of meat it is, but it seems okay.
Well, given where she grew up, she'll just shrug and she'll eat
Okay.
some of it as she's going.
Cool.
Yeah. So she'll make her way to the was it the Sorrowful Angel?
Yep.
To prep for the meeting at dawn.
Okay. So the Sorrowful Angel is a fountain in the middle of a kind of a disused city square. Over time, the city has expanded and it shifts and changes in shape and size as the constant war of intrigue changes who's winning and whatnot, and who is investing in civic projects. So this square used to be a much more common meeting place, and the fountain, where once it was a bright, strong current coming from the angel's barrel, like a jar or a vat of some kind that she's leaning down. I say she, but the angel is gender ambiguous. Just many people assume the angel's supposed to be a woman, but that's not really clear. Is pouring water down, and there used to be a strong current that would come out of the jug, but now it is a bare trickle. You can still, get some water and still quench your thirst here, but it is not what it once was. Okay, and it's still a few hours off from dawn. What would you like to do?
Well, for the moment, she's going to try to find a spot where she can post up someplace out of sight, where she can keep an eye on things, but still reasonably maybe hear.
Ground level, high vantage point.
I think she'll pick ground level just in case she does need to make a quick, pursuit or tail. And given some of her abilities, she should be able to find a place that she can hide easily enough.
Okay. Okay, I'm just taking some notes. All right. So yeah, you post yourself up in a shadowy place with fairly good visibility of the fountain, and you are very, very tired. Would you like to trance?
Yeah, I think she'll try.
Okay.
She'll try to trance.
Okay. I'm just gonna have you make a charisma saving throw, please. Okay.
22. Not shabby.
So yeah, the dreariness of this place is kind of closing in around you, but you're able to kind of focus and recenter yourself through an act of your will, reminding yourself that you are yourself, and it might not be super clear who that is, but you still are you, and you are able to slip into an elven trance. What do you dream about while you trance? What do you see during your trance?
She sees memories. I mean, that's generally how trance works. At least is how I've seen it described a lot. Is replaying old memories. She sees, flashes of growing up as a an urchin on the street, having to scrounge and steal to make ends meet. The gnaw of hunger, the chill of sleeping out in the cold. A flash of her first big job with the shadow knives, the elation, and then things take a darker turn, almost quite literally. She sees
You turn a
oppressive,
corner and it's dark.
yeah, oppressive shadows, edging out vision, crumbling ruins rising up out of a black morass, a shard of crimson glass, pain, and then it ends. Her eyes will snap open.
Okay.
And she'll just feel cold.
Yep. You feel cold. All around you is silence and stillness. I mean, even when there's no one around, you can still hear birds mournfully crying out for the sun that may not rise. You can still hear sounds of footsteps and streets distant. You can still hear the creaking of wood from old buildings sinking gradually under their own weight. But right now, everything is silent. And you're still in the square. You're still looking down at the angel. And you see that there is now another figure next to the angel, standing right behind the angel, like in a perfect mirrored shadow pose against this angel. And they're holding something in the same posture as the angel's holding the jug, but it's not a jug. It's some kind of, well, you're not really sure what it is. It seems like a jumble of broken shards of metal or glass or something. And the figure is looking away from you, but you know that they can see you. They're aware of you. And you feel their presence kind of bidding you approach. Do you do so?
I think she's rattled. I think against her better judgment, she'll step forward.
Okay. So you kind of hop down from wherever you had posted up, leaving the safety of the shadows, although the shadows seem to follow you, to cling to you, as though you are cloaked in an armor of shadows. And you approach this figure, and it says, "In time." Its voice just kind of resonant. You're not sure if it's in your ears or in your head or both. You take a few more steps, and it says, in time. And you realize that you were holding a shard of purple crystal, and you're standing before the figure whose face is just all in shadow. In time, it says, all shall be revealed. And it holds out its hands as though you should add the crystal to its fragments, its pile of broken images.
She'll hesitate, and then, not really knowing what else to do here and kind of frozen to the spot, like part of her wants to run as far and as fast as she can, but she can't move except to put the crystal into its palm.
Soon. And then you wake up for real this time in your shadowy spot, and it is dawn. As much as dawn ever comes to Nightside, there's a dim glow in the sky which makes everything lighter. Gray, dismal, but lighter. It's definitely daylight. The daylight cannot pierce the overwhelming gloom of Nightside, just as darkness cannot smother the radiance of Dayside. And you see a few people wandering around the square. No one seems to have noticed you. You seem to have a pretty good hiding spot. You do see your old friend from the previous evening, Finch, who is very skinny and very, very short, and kind of hobbles his way up to the fountain. You didn't realize this when you first saw him. One of his legs appears to be made of wood, not a flesh leg, but he is quite capable on it. He's carrying your hand crossbow. You can tell it's hanging off his belt. He looks pretty pleased with it, actually. And he goes up to the fountain, and he leans against it, and he just starts whistling, just waiting. And that's okay. Are you gonna do anything? You wanna take an action? You gonna stay there?
The moment, I'm just gonna watch.
Okay, you're just gonna wait.
I'm waiting.
All right. Are you gonna count on the stealth that you have from your sleep, or are you gonna try and hide better?
I'm gonna try to hide better.
Okay, go ahead and make a roll.
22.
Good choice. Okay, because if you had relied on your stealth from the previous evening, I just would have taken 10 and given you 16. But as it is, much better.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you adjust your hiding spot just to make it a little less likely anyone will see you. And in a moment, you see a hooded figure just kind of like insinuate himself next to Finch. You can tell that it's a man, partly because he has kind of a short, stubbly sort of beard, and he just kind of has that shape. But you can't necessarily tell a whole lot about him because he's wearing the gray cloak. Obviously, he's someone who takes his anonymity seriously, and he engages with Finch, who immediately like, yeah, it's you. And they kind of like lean their heads together a little bit, and they're starting to talk. Do you want to try and eavesdrop on them?
I do.
Okay, with that great stealth check, you're pretty sure you're very well hidden. You're just gonna have to make a perception check to either hear them here, or you can try and move closer.
I'll try to hear them where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm gonna use that second inspiration that I got from one of our viewers. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I am going to roll that again.
Cool.
That was
that
not
inspiration
great.
came from Sweden.
Yeah,
Sweden?
I wasn't sure
Am I
to pronounce
pronouncing
that.
that properly?
That was not good. The 12 will have to stand.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're thinking of the vision you had at the end of your trance, and you can only pick up a few of the words. This fellow appears to be a little like edgy. Saying like, "Why are we meeting out here? Why are we meeting by this fountain? You know, I don't like to meet out here in open view during the day. What's wrong with you, Finch?" And Finch is like, "Hey, you know, public places. It's just safe for both of us. Safe for you, perhaps. Where'd you get that crossbow? What? This? Oh, I just bought it last night. Traded very important information for it." "Oh, did you?" The man has kind of a gravelly, no nonsense, professional sort of voice.
She is so much going to cringe at that part, just because like you're too much.
Okay, and he says, "Well, I brought what I promised," and something. He pulls something out of his cloak and shows it to Finch, who goes, "Oh, that's pretty. That's good. That's good." And you want to see if you can catch a glimpse of what it is? Perception check.
Yeah, I'll do another perception.
Perception isn't really Sparrow's thing.
Apparently not. Oh my god.
All right.
It's an 8.
Yeah, you catch the glimpse of like something metallic, but that's all you could see. And Finch takes it and he says, "Oh, well, yes, if this is what you have, then yes, come to my garret, bring some things. I have more supplies for you." And the guy says, "It's a little hot, a little too much attention right now. I'm just gonna lay low for a bit after this job. Should be able to pay rent for a while, you know." And Finch is like, "Huh, that's you. Very practical." The guy looks at him. Finch looks back at him. And the guy goes, "All right, well, later." And then he heads off. And Finch goes, "Huh." And he wanders off the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do?
I'm following the cloaked guy. Like
Yep,
that's
okay.
that's what I'm doing.
Okay. As you are following the cloaked figure, he is very good at sticking to shadows and like eluding notice from people who are passing by. I'm not going to require you to make like perception checks to keep finding him because he's not trying to hide from you. He doesn't know you're there. But I am going to make you do a stealth check to avoid being noticed.
Okay. 16.
Okay. It's pretty good. Pretty solid. He doesn't seem to notice you. You go a couple of blocks, and then he ducks down an alley.
Okay.
Like a box alley. You're pretty sure there's no other way out of there. With your knowledge of the city, you know that that alley is blocked off and has been for many, many years. You want to follow him?
I'm going to step up to I'm going to flatten myself against the wall beside the mouth of the alley, and I am going to try to peek around because I don't trust following a random person into a blind alley that doesn't go anywhere.
All right, yeah. Okay, make a perception check.
All right. Let's see if the dice want to play nice with me. Please. That's 16.
Hey, that's pretty good. All right. Yeah, you get up there, you press yourself against the wall, you peer around just in time to see the fringe of his cloak disappearing over the roof. He has climbed up onto a rooftop. In the alley, there's a strong smell of rotting fish and sour ale that someone has spilled. And, you know, the common smells of people inhabiting this area. Vomit, filth, that kind of thing. You also see a tattered poster on the wall, and very near where he climbed up, and you see that he might have been looking at this poster for a moment. You want to look at it?
Yeah, I'll go take a look.
Okay. It has a grizzled man's face, and it says Tarrant, Tarrant, and the offer of it's a bounty poster, and the reward is what's the unit of currency here in Nightside? Because we have coins, obviously, but what's the currency in paper? What is it called?
Oh no. This is something that I haven't. I've been trying to think of a good name for it. Honestly,
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
My suggestion is that the common people refer to paper money in various ways. They frequently refer to it as scratch and scrap and scrip. All of those are pretty kind of like common usage for the term. But the official name of the currency is mark. And so the bounty listed here is 1,000 marks, which is a pretty sizable sum. That's about equivalent to 1,000 gold pieces or so.
Okay.
And of course, you can also break down a mark. Mark is like, equal to a gold piece or so. And you can get like a half mark, a quarter mark, a bit mark, which is 1/10 of a mark, equivalent to a silver piece. I'm gonna be writing these notes down while you tell me what you're gonna do next.
Okay. So he was looking at this poster, and you said, where did he go from there?
He went up onto the rooftop.
Well, up on the roof. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely take note of this poster, for the moment. But like my intent is more to continue to follow him without, and hopefully he doesn't get too far ahead. So I'm gonna have to follow.
Okay. With your pretty good perception check, you see that there are a number of handholds that are specifically cut into the wall to render climbing up this wall very easily. Like the joist extends out through the building a little bit, and it has been mostly shaved away, but there's still a gripping platform that you can like hop up and grab onto, and it would aid you in climbing. So I will let you make an acrobatics check with advantage to climb up this wall.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you Assassin's Creed your way up that wall, no problem. You just hop from handhold to foothold, and you just climb over the top. Now that you are up here on top of the rooftops, you see that a number of buildings have withered, none too healthy gardens, attempts at flowers. There are some buildings that have trees, spindly, sad things. There are clotheslines, mostly with, gray and dark earth and tone clothes. And there are also wooden bridges built between some of the rooftops. They wouldn't be super noticeable from the street, but now that you're up here, you can basically see a path which is leading away from you. And in the near distance, you could see a cloaked figure moving along the rooftops. And his destination appears to be a large cathedral-like building, which is properly known as the Fire Ascendant. It's a chapel that once served Eris, the goddess of radiance and whatnot. but now has been taken over by the Hellfire clan and is sworn to the Queen of Hell. And most common folk refer to it as the Devil's Choir, that building.
All right.
So.
Okay. Well, I will make my way in that direction.
Okay. It's only a few rooftops away. Not too difficult. All right. And when you're getting up that way, you can hear services, sounds of singing and prayers, which sound unsettlingly like laughter and screams down below in this cathedral. And then you can hear a great bell tolling up above at the top, and you can see a little wooden bridge that leads to a rooftop. The cathedral itself has a round kind of balcony space with gargoyles at the various corners. Well, I mean, not corners because it's round, but like peeking off of this platform, and the bell is in that platform. And then beyond that is the building is more squarish, and there's an actual building that's like built into it. I'll show you on the map because I created a map in Roll20, so I'll put you on the Roll20. Here we go.
Nice.
Okay, so here we go.
Ooh.
And so there's this rooftop, and you should be able to see at least some of what's there. The walls should be blocking most of your vision. You can see a little bit through these windows into like a cramped, dusty space.
Okay.
And then it's actually open between these pillars on the top of the rounded area, and you can kind of see a little bit into there. The bell is ringed by these pillars. The gargoyles are hideous things, monstrous, devilish creatures. You're not sure if they're alive. You're not sure if they're actual gargoyles. Like, lore on the street differs.
Yeah. I'm sure there are stories.
Yeah.
All right. And did I catch sight of where the mark got to?
You're pretty sure he was headed this way.
Okay.
But you kind of lost track of him. He's very, very elusive, stealthy.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to move up to one of the walls beside one of the windows, and I'm going to try to peer inside.
All right. Make a perception check.
All
right. So you can see inside it is kind of a jumble, like a messy attic space, basically. There is a kind of elevated platform with a ladder leading up to it. I mean, you assume, you don't actually see the ladder from where you are. And there are boxes stacked on top of boxes. And the stonework isn't always even inside. There appear to be spaces where there were complete walls once upon a time, but part of them have crumbled. Just looks like kind of a mess in there. But you do faintly under those under the platforms, since you have the dark vision. You can see, if you look all the way there, you can see kind of a cupboard with like plates and things in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see faint firelight from somewhere inside.
All right.
But this right here, let me just point out a couple of things on the map here. This right here is that raised platform that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This is a partial wall that's crumbled, and you can just see past it to this cupboard here.
Okay.
It looks like maybe somebody lives here. Maybe.
All right. Well then.
Some suitable music for the cathedral here.
I think what I'm going to do is, let's see here. So, looking in there, is there a place that I could reasonably? So Sparrow has access to a couple of abilities. There is the shadow dancing, obviously, that she's been using. Um, but uh, I haven't had the chance to reskin this, like we were talking about, just narratively. But um, there is also the she actually has a short racial ability of a short range teleport.
That's true.
Um, and all it requires is it has to be a space she could see within 30 feet. So feasibly, if there's a spot where she could put herself that would be reasonably out of sight, but she can still kind of see, she could bamf over there.
Well, it kind of depends on what direction you're trying to avoid being observed from.
That's true. Um,
The elevated platform, which is about 10 feet off the floor, might be a good choice based on
yeah,
what you can see so far.
yeah. Why don't we'll put? She'll use that and put herself up there.
Okay.
Kind of,
So like here.
yeah. So
Okay.
she'll kind of. It's visually, I imagine it would basically work very similarly to the shadow dancing, but it's definitely a bit of a different beast. It's also so that she can definitely not do nearly as often. Um, where she just kind of dissolves into black wisps and reforms or reemerges from these, like the wisps kind of she for, reemerges from this stuff
Okay.
in the place where she is intending to go.
Cool. Cool. All right. Yeah. You reemerge. Um, kind of like crouch down on one knee to
Mm-hmm.
lower your profile, I assume. Okay, yeah, you can see quite a bit more from there. So let me reveal a few more areas here. So you can see that great opening where the bell is. It's just a big hole, as in, like, if you walked over it, you would fall. Picture the cathedral kind of from the 1989 Batman movie, and you get a sense of what we're looking at here.
Okay, I getcha.
All right. Yeah. You can see just over this slightly crumbling wall that's here in the center, and you can see that there is a couch, like a kind of dusty old couch, threadbare, chewed by rodents. And then beyond it is a table with alchemical stuff, um, like vials and beakers and whatnot, and a book that's open. And that is the source of the light. There appears to be a small fire in a well, it's not like a rubbish bin, but like a bowl, a metal bowl.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you can see this way a little bit. Oh, sorry, I have the wrong thing selected. Okay, you can see south of you a little bit too. I still have the wrong thing selected. There we go. All right, you can see south of you as well. There's a shelf with books, and there are a couple of doors here to smaller rooms. The doors are
Okay.
kind of ramshackle, and you can kind of see through cracks into the rooms as much as I showed you right there. This room in the south has a big hole in this ceiling here, and from your vantage, you can see the room has a couple of sacks, kind of like stacked against the wall.
All right.
And over here, you can just kind of see that there's a chair that's facing you, although there's no one sitting in the chair. Okay, that's what you can see from there.
Okay. You said there wasn't anybody in the chair?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Correct. Yeah.
Well,
you know, what would have been great is if I had said there does seem to be someone in the chair, and then you're like, it's a mannequin. Okay. Yeah. There's nothing, no one in the chair.
all right.
I'll do the mannequin thing on you at some later date.
I'm sure you will. Okay. Is there any sign of the figure I was tailing?
Make a new perception check from your new vantage.
Okay. 16. It's not awful.
Okay. All right. So you kind of like open yourself up to expand your senses. And you think you hear a faint sound from northward, kind of toward the direction of the bell. The bell is just hanging there, not moving. It has no reason to ring quite yet.
Okay.
You'd also notice that at your feet is a coil of rope, like a big coil.
All right.
And just below you is a chest, like at the base of the raised platform.
Okay. All right. You said I could hear noise coming from the other side of the bell.
You think so, yeah.
Think so? Okay. Sparrow will very slowly, but will very, very carefully lower herself down and kind of drop to the floor.
Okay. I'm going to need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Only a 12.
Okay. So, you hear this thing, you start to move, and then the coil of rope kind of like cinches around your leg and pulls you upside down, hanging in front of the raised platform. It appears that you inadvertently teleported into a trap, but you didn't actually set it off because you didn't step into it. And so now you are hanging there from this rope.
Oh, for crying out loud. Well, okay. She will... I mean, she'll pull out a dagger and try to like lift herself up to cut herself loose, basically.
Okay. What's your character's strength score?
Strength is a 12.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Like if it was below 8, you might have had trouble doing that, but like 12, no problem. Yeah, you can reach up and start sawing yourself free. The rope is good quality silk rope. But yeah, you can cut yourself free without a lot of difficulty. Soon enough, however, you get yourself free, and then you fall about 15 feet toward the floor. If you want to make an acrobatics check, you can attempt to reduce that. Yeah, no problem. Okay, you land on your feet, cat-like. And
hero landing.
Yeah, hero landing. Hard on the knees, but it looks impressive. Anyway, and you hear a voice that says, "Oh, What's this? A guest.
She's just gonna like audibly, like she's just gonna sigh.
Having a hard day, are we?
I wouldn't even know where to begin. She kind of stands up and like can she see where this voice is coming from?
It's kind of echoing around.
So
The
why don't you
acoustics in this place are kind of like it voices go around this kind of dome that the bell is in.
Okay. So why don't you make it easier on both of us and show yourself?
I have good reasons. Why are you here? You could be here to kill me. There's a sizable bounty on my head, after all.
What was the name on that poster?
What's your character's intelligence score?
Her intelligence is 13.
Yeah, okay. It was Tarrant. Tarrant. Tarrant.
So you're Tarrant.
That's
I'll
right.
admit that bounty is sizable, but that's not why I'm here.
That's precisely what you'd say if that was why you're here.
I suppose you have a point. Then again, what would your reaction be if I said that I was?
The same.
Well, then I suppose it doesn't matter what I say, does it?
Sure it does. Who are you and why are you here? Make me believe you. If you like.
I am the Silver Sparrow, and she'll kind of dip into a kind of overly exaggerated bow.
That's a flowery name for an assassin.
Well, I'm not an assassin.
Thief taker, maybe?
More of a thief in general.
Not a very good one, are you? Although you did sneak in here without me knowing it, so I have to give you credit for that. Not too many would come upon me in the Devil's Choir.
We all have our off days, dear.
I suppose that's true.
Besides, as I said, I've no desire to kill you or see you harmed or even necessarily turn you in for the reward money, as tempting as that might be. I simply, well, let's say that you forgot something, and she'll kind of reach down, pull out the piece of a lockpick.
Just this kind of like thoughtful sound resonates around the room. And then a hand appears next to you and takes the lockpick out of your fingers, and Tarrant is standing next to you. And he says, "Oh, that was clumsy of me, wasn't it?"
Just a bit. Though I'm certainly impressed you managed to acquire the object without drawing the attention of the, well, the owner, shall we say.
You see that he's tensed, as though he's ready for you to attack.
She's made no move.
Attacking.
No. Her hands are in the air. Like, she's not making any moves to attack.
All right. He steps away from you, over toward the couch. Sits down on the couch. So, I stole something that you want. Is that what it is?
I mean, if you must put it that way. You beat me to the punch, and I'm impressed. I certainly would like to have met the person who bested me for myself.
And sold him out to the thief takers? Or
No thief
takers. No, they'd be on me already. You came here to do business, didn't you?
Yes. I did.
Make yourself at home. Tell me your proposal.
She'll kind of make her way over, flop onto the like she'll seat herself, prop her feet up on whatever's available. Well, certainly, I could. Well, I would like to reiterate that I was impressed with your capability, certainly beating me to the punch. Unfortunately, I uh could use new friends, new partners, as it were.
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion.
I don't go in for all that flattery. I'm here for business. I have bills to pay, expenses. I suppose you do too.
Yeah, that is true. I think we all do on Night's side. Now, my hope, certainly, had been to acquire the item and sell it for a hefty profit, and perhaps see my way out of this cesspool. But, well, you certainly beat me to that, and I would not dream of trying to lay claim to your prize. Certainly you acquired it for yourself, fair and square. But that does bring to mind what else we could get up to, should we put our minds to it. Certainly you, despite living in this delightful place above the, well, I imagine the sound gets to be a bit much, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do like to be out doing business when the bells are ringing, obviously. But, well, they're not really calling in the day the way they used to, are they?
No, they aren't.
So, now that you're, face to face with Tarant, you're pretty sure he's human? Maybe heritage of some other kind that's mingled in there, but mostly human, you think. He's grizzled, has like several 5 o'clock shadows is what we're saying. And dark haired, kind of darkish skin. Not especially memorable looking, except that he has a fairly strong jaw and has this kind of distinctive way of talking, which is kind of direct and gritty, shall we say. He says, "You're really not here for the reward."
No, if not here for the reward, if those of us here on this side of the city kept turning each other in for the reward money, there wouldn't be anyone left, would there?
True enough. You have a prize for us to seek out, perhaps?
Well,
Something you've been dreaming of?
Well, now that you mentioned that, how are your feelings on the Shadow Knives?
He smiles a little bit, says, "I'm listening." And on that note, I think that's all the time we have for tonight. So there's going to be some deal making going forward. And hopefully our other compatriots will show back up. We'll find out what happened to them. The intrigues in Greymantle persist and continue. They are endless, the constant flow of light and darkness leading mostly to the creation of shadow. Thank you for coming with us on this adventure. Thank you, Allie, for doing such a great job. I'm glad that, it worked out to do this duet game. I thought it was pretty fun. I have been got to be the DM of many campaigns on the Dungeon Scrawlers. You can find me on Twitter and on Facebook if you are also an old and grizzled veteran like myself. And obviously here on the Dungeon Scrawlers stream. I have a book coming out in November. It is called Femmes Fatale, and it is about two former supervillains. Well, one is still a supervillain, who have a disagreement about a guy that they both had a thing for, and then they realize they have way more chemistry with each other, and then they get up to all kinds of antics. It is real fun, and I highly recommend it. And also, I am writing another book, which I will hopefully be announcing at some point fairly soon. And I am looking to do a Kickstarter for a book starting in January. I'm busy, is what we're saying. So if you want to check me out, find me online. Take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexandra Pitchford, as I have mentioned at the top of the show. I am an author and game designer, and I also, I write things. Hey, and some of them are actually set in Greymantle. Uh,
Nice.
I have a short story that is coming out in an anthology called "Never Too Old to Save the World." It centers around a character named Anwin, but a certain someone that you might find familiar does show up with many shenanigans. And then I am also on my Patreon. I am releasing chapter by chapter a serialized novella called "The Phantom Your Job," which does center around Sparrow, who a couple decades older and a bit more world weary version of Sparrow that I've certainly enjoyed writing so far, and that is coming out ideally month to month, but it's coming out, and even in months that I do not have a chapter, there is always a goodie or two that is made available to my patrons. So I can post a link to that in the chat, and if you want to check it out, you're welcome to.
Fantastic. Yeah, and on that note, thank you. Usually Rhiannon is the one who does the outro for us, so we're going to go with something suitably Greymantle-y, which is, may you always find the shadows exactly where you mean to find them. Good night, everyone. Until next.